Shalom, everybody. Shalom. Today is the first day of the week, Sunday. I just want to say shalom, everybody. Praise Yah. You know, Yah is working and Yah is doing many things in our lives. And I'm glad you joined me today, because today I want to know, do you have belief? Today we are going to be talking about the belief. It's so powerful. You're going to want to watch this and pay attention, because there's guys right here. You had Moshe that had belief that allowed him to escape. And you had Enoch that had belief that allowed him to escape, and Elijah as well. And you had Noah down here that allowed him to escape. So today, I want you to join me as we will be getting into the Besorah of Yahusha and reading about belief. Do you have belief? My name is John Seals, also known as X-Gentile. I'm coming to you from the National Yehudim Helping Hand Ministry, based out of Kansas City, Missouri. My teacher is Ranford Flemings. My moreh is Yathan Yisrael. Once again, join me today for the teachings of the Besorah of Yahusha. Do you have belief? That is today's program. I know I told you all that I was going to be doing a show on Elon, and I was going to be doing a show on belief, but Elon's going to have to wait. This program, belief, is so powerful that it's going to take probably many series. I'm going to have to do this show more than once, because without this belief, you're doomed. It doesn't work, and we're going to be getting into why it doesn't work and how powerful belief is. So join me today as we get into the Besorah. So right now, I just want to bring to you my introduction video. I'm sure you guys have all seen this, but join me as we watch this video that I put out there and I've been sharing. I hope you all enjoy this. I'm sure most of you have seen this. This is the only book mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls, not Bible, not Sefer. No book is mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls but Besorah. You can only get these Hebrew teachings from real Hebrews, so you better find one. That's all I can tell you. And you better make sure he's obeying the laws and commands like he commanded. Do your homework, people. Do your research. You better dig in with everything you got. This is your last chance to get out of here. If you want to make it and you don't want to perish with this world as it's going to be destroyed, then you better adhere to the words of Yah. Once again, I appreciate you all for coming. Thanks for joining me today. My name is X-Gentile. I will be teaching from the Besorah. I have been taught by Hebrews, not by man. Please join me. Time is running out. You know it's true. You know what's happening. You know Satan is everywhere in front of your face, and there's nothing you can do and nowhere you can run. So you better get it right and get it together now. And I just ask you, please pay attention to his name and his word. This is real. This is not a joke or a game. Thank you guys for watching that and listening to me. Like I said, this ain't no joke or no game. You're going to find out how real our Father is and how He created everything. And He runs everything, even the good and the bad. And you want to ask yourself, why would He allow bad things to happen? Well, when you don't adhere to His words and you don't listen to His commands and His laws, that's why He allows those bad people to punish you. He only disciplines the ones He loves. If your life is perfect and you don't have any issues in your life, I'd say there's a good chance He doesn't love you. But the ones who struggle in this world, because we're not part of this place, we're not from here. We were placed here for a reason and a purpose, and you're going to find that out. So today, I just want to show you, once again, the cover that I created for today's program. We are going to be talking about belief. It's very important that you understand what belief is and what it means and what it represents, and not just the belief of Noah and the belief of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Moshe, but the belief of the world. Do you believe all these things that are going on in the world? Do you? All right, it's time to get into the Besorah. So please join me as we open up our books. And if you have a Bible, you may follow along, but you will be missing very important key pieces of information that only come from the only book mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Repent, for the reign of Yah is near. Only 144,000 copies of this book were made. Ask yourself why. If you read this book, you'll understand where it came from and who put it together and what its purpose is. We offer this free download at Ranford Fleming's website on HebrewStoreOnline.com. HebrewStoreOnline.com. Please go down there now and get you a free copy of this Besorah, a free download. When you click on the link for free download, it might make it look like you pay, but click default and select 0 and get it for nothing. This book is the best book you can get, that is the most accurate book known to man. Our guys have studied. My moray showed me when I first got into this, and I appreciate you, Brother Yathan. He showed me, he had all the books. You don't think he didn't do his homework? He had all the books and showed me the differences between the books, and he's done his research. We've done our study, and we know that the most accurate book mentioned in the Dead Sea Scroll is Besorah. It only mentions Besorah. No other book is mentioned in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So this book has been compared to all other books, just in case you want to know, in case you doubt us, in case you are, you want to know for yourself what we're talking about. This ain't no joke and this ain't no game. We take this very serious. And these guys have been doing this for a long time. Our Kohen, he's been doing this for 17 years, so he's deep in this. And he lived in a Hebrew camp 17 years ago, so he's been on his own teaching for 17 years. So do the research. If you can find, some other people that have more information on this book, please adhere to them and listen. This book is so important that you read from this book and you get the word of Yah. Because without this book, you can't get everything you need. There might be other things mentioned in other books, like the book of Enoch, which I'm sure might have some things that might be interesting. But it cannot give you salvation, and it cannot deliver you from the hour of trial and give you the great escape, which we'll be talking about. But today, we're talking about belief. So join me now as we open the Besorah, and join me on page 1278. We're going to Ibrim 1278. All right, you might want to get your notepads out for some of this stuff. This is how I learned this stuff, was by taking notes. For me, it was taking notes. I had to write it down so I could refer back to it and understand these things and go back to it and kind of start writing it inside of myself and getting used to it and making this known, because this is very important that you understand the belief, because without this belief, you're going to be lost. And what I'm talking about is the belief. And you need to understand this, because without it, you don't stand a chance. No matter how much you think you might know, and no matter how much you might have done, without this belief, you won't make it. It just will not work. I guarantee you. So join me now on page 1278, Hebrews 11:1. We're going to read the whole chapter of 11 just so you can get an idea of how powerful the word belief is. And I want to tell you of how many times I found the word belief mentioned in the Besorah. It was 264 times. So it's very important that you have this belief. It's what Noah had. It's what Moshe had. It's what Enoch had. It's what Elijah had. It's what all these people had, was belief. And you must have belief if you want to escape. Without it, you will not escape. So you could be working on trying to get deliverance and following the laws and commands, and you could be there at that point, which I'm happy for you, and that's where you need to be. So your salvation is one thing that gets you into heaven. Let me back out of here a second, because I got to give you some understanding. Your salvation is believing that, and there's your belief. See, that's how powerful it is. If you want salvation, what do you have to believe? You have to believe that the Messiah died and rose from the grave 3 days later. If you don't believe that, you don't make it. You cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven without that, because nobody comes through the Father except through the Messiah. So without belief, you cannot get in. And that's why it's important for anybody, if you're a Gentile, if you're new at this and you're a beginner, it's important that you have belief, because it's your belief that's going to get you into the gates of heaven. You got to believe that the Messiah died and he rose from the grave 3 days later, or you don't get in. So to all that believe in the Messiah died and rose from the grave, I will see you in heaven. Even the Christians, maybe even some Catholics and some others. There's too many names to mention. And what you need to understand is they're going to be in heaven, but they go to trial. That means they're going to perish here and go through some crap while this earth is being punished and judged. And your deliverance is a step beyond your salvation. You can only receive deliverance once you have received salvation. So once you've got your salvation locked in, you may proceed to achieving deliverance, but you can only do that by following the laws and commands and obeying them and showing them how you respect them and you honor them and you love them, and you are going to do them no matter what. And you're going to set yourself apart from the pagan days and the holidays in the world that they've given you. That's how you get deliverance. But even though you have deliverance, if you don't have belief of the great escape, you won't make it. You might be obeying the laws and commands, but if you don't have the belief, you won't make it. That's why it's important to move in those steps, and those steps are key. Look at the 3 steps. There are 3 steps there. You have salvation, you have deliverance, you have escape. You need to understand that. That's how it works. And so let's get back into the Besorah here. Join me once again as we get into the Besorah. Sorry I went off on a tangent, but you don't understand how important this is. I'm not kidding you. This is more important than anything you could ever, forget about everything you've learned in your life. I don't care what kind of degrees and who you think you might be, what you've done to impress other men here. You're nothing without this. You are doomed. So please join me on page 1278, Ibrahim 11, 1. Here we go. And belief is the substance of what is expected. Do you see that? This is so powerful. I'm going to keep going. The proof of what is not seen. I got to stop right there. I cannot go on. It's so hardcore just even right there. Because you got to listen to this. He's telling you, let's break this down. Look, it says right here, and belief. It doesn't say is, was or might be. It says is. That means there's no, this is factual. The substance of what is expected. This is what is expected. This is what you must do. He's telling you the proof of what is not seen. And see, so I got to stop right there and break that down, because if I don't do it, you're not gonna understand this. Your belief has to be so strong, and you have to have experienced so many things that Yah has shown you. Yah, YHWH, our Elohim. You got to understand that what He shows you adds up over time, and you have proof that He's doing what He's doing, and you begin to get belief from the proof that He's showing you, because you can't see Yah or the other things in the heavens. You cannot, unless that somehow you're chosen to be shown those things. But what we do is we live by our testimonies, and our testimonies, are our experiences, and they're gonna be a testimony for and witness connected with others that are gonna prove that Yah's doing what He's doing. And that's how you get that belief, because when something happens in your life and Yah does something for you, and you witness that He's done something for you, and it's clear and direct, how many times does that have to happen before you start compiling all these things and all these times that Yah has been there and He's doing stuff for you? That is the proof of what is not seen. He's doing things that you can't see directly and you can't explain, but it's working and He's doing it. And you just have to develop that type of belief by sticking with Him and developing these things. It takes time. It's not easy. But if you want out of all the wickedness and out of all the things that are causing you problems in your life, once you go to Him on your knees and you beg Him to take you away, He will reach out. And once you call His name, He will answer your call. But you can't be playing games. You have to take this serious. We are not in no time for game playing. You got to stop sitting on the fence like they've trained you. You all mostly are bandwagon jumpers and cheerleaders. That's why they have developed this left and right paradigm with the politics. Because you always want to be on a winning team. So when that one team loses, you jump on the other one. And football's the same way. In sports, you bandwagon jump and cheerleader for the winning team always. They all are connected. And you got to understand this. And see, I wasn't want to talk about this too early, but I'm going to have to, because it's just inevitable. Your belief is so strong and so powerful. You got to understand that if you believe in Yah and you believe everything that He says is true and everything that He knows is happening and going to happen, then that is the direction you want to be in. And that's what's going to get you, on the path that you need to be on in order to escape. And if you change your belief and the direction of your belief, this is the key right here. The direction of your belief is important. One of the reasons why the belief works for the world and the demons and all this is because you believe in it. You put your belief in that one day things are going to get better. And one day the bad guys are going to stop doing the wrong things and start doing the right things. And I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen. But because you believe it's going to happen, that's why it's able to continue and drag on and drag on. And you get manipulated, and you can't seem to figure out why it works in this world the way it does, but it's your belief, because you believe, that they went to the moon, for example. I'm just using this as an example. In my opinion, I don't believe they did. I'm not saying that's factual or not. I gave you my opinion. So, and I'll tell you when I'm giving you one. So my belief, though, because my belief, in that it doesn't work for me. I know who NASA is. I know it was created by a Nazi that we allowed to come into the United States. But the world, they believe that, they did go to the moon. And the world believes that it's true because they're so worldly. They participate in all the holidays that the world gives them, where nowhere is it shown that you have to do those things. You can't find me anywhere where it says you have to do those things. It's not even a command, but you're doing them. That's what's mind-blowing to me. Yah gives you a command and you don't do them. The world doesn't even command you to do these things and you do them because they razzle-dazzle you, and they make you feel, they get you in your feelings and make you feel, things. That's the only reason why you participate in them. But it's your belief in those things that are so strong that make them work, and it makes it all work for this system. And that's why you got to understand how powerful belief is. When you direct your belief towards the world and the system in it, it makes them more powerful, and it gives them the ability to control you, because you're giving it to them. You're handing it over. But when you place your belief in Yah, YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim, the Creator, when you place your belief in Him, things change, because you're more set apart. You're not participating in the non-commanded holidays, pagan days, I call them. You're not doing that. You're following the scriptures days that it tells you. You're doing, you're giving respect to Purim, which was yesterday. That's when they wanted to kill all the Hebrews. See, most of you don't even know that. And then we got Passover coming up. We have, Pentecost and Atonement, feast days, tabernacles, Feast of Booths. There's so many holidays that are mentioned in the scriptures. They're festivals. They're commands that says a command means you have to do it. It's a command, just like the 10 Commandments. And the Messiah didn't come here to stop anything. He came here to fulfill the Torah, and he did. He did just that. He was an example. And so you must understand that the belief that you have, and you focus it to the world and the things in the world, that's what makes it work over there, and that's what makes it powerful over there. And that's why you think that there's a chance of it happening, because of your belief. And because you don't have the belief of our Father, you don't know what He has planned and what He's going to do. That's why you don't get this. So you've got to redirect your belief and your focus and your energy towards Yah, Yahuwah, our Elohim. Everything you got to be doing, you got to trust in Him. You got to know that He's going to do what He says He's going to do. Once you know that, then you have the belief. And you must find it, because without that belief, you cannot escape. You can't get salvation. You can't get deliverance, and you can't escape. None of these things will happen. Come on. Belief is so powerful. That's why I had to break that down, because it's important you know that your energy and focus of belief is being directed towards the world and all the things that the system's providing for you, and that's why it works, because you believe in it. But if you stop believing in it and don't trust these demons, then and start trusting in Yah, you'll see that he has better plans for you. You see that he has laid the pathway and has provided everything that you need to get where you want, where not only he wants you to be, but where you would like to be. I promise you that. You can't get any of the peace and calmness and pleasantness out of this world because you believe in all the things that's happening over there. But when you believe in Yah, YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim, you will see that he provides all those things that you're looking for. Every one of you out there, I know you're looking for that peace and that comfort and that stability and just that calmness. I know you are. I was looking for it forever. But it wasn't until I had total belief, I was able to enter into that. So it's important that you understand how powerful belief is. It's the proof of what is not seen. I mean, that's devastating. So you're going to have to believe in something that you can't see. You have to know that it's so true and so factual, but you've never seen it. You have to know that it's more true than the things that you can actually lay your hands on here. Your belief has to be that strong, because without that, you don't stand a chance. You'll never make it. And Noah had that belief. Moses had that belief. Abraham had that belief. You got to have that belief. These people are obedient, and see, following the laws and commands will give you that belief. That it'll deliver you, man. That's why it's important that you adhere to the commandments. Then you follow the laws, which is acknowledging the correct festival days, not the pagan ones that the world is giving you. That's not even a command. It's not even a command. You cannot show me where it says we have to do it. Show me where it says we have to do it. All those, your Christmas, Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, all those pagan days, show me where it says we have to do those. You cannot. And that's how I know that it's our belief that makes all these things happen, no matter where you go. And so you're going to need to change your thoughts and change your belief and start believing in Yah. I know you've never seen him, and you're probably not going to until the time comes. But that's not important. You better know that he means what he says, and that he's real, and he's more alive and real than anything you can see right now. If you don't know that and understand it like that, you don't have a chance. You're not going to make it. So anyways, now that I've broken that down to you, that's really what I wanted to break down to you today, was telling you and explaining to you how the direction and focus of our belief is key in all of this. Do you believe in the things of the world and what's happening in the world? I mean, I'm not saying some of it's true, some of it ain't true. I don't care. I'll be honest with you. I could give two, what's less. I'm not going to believe in the world. I'm not putting any of my time and my energy into something that I know is not true. And I see Satan at the helm of it. He's standing at the door of all of that stuff, and you want to believe in anything over there. I'm good. So I'm going to trust in Yah, and he's done enough things in my life. I could write a book. I mean, there's many, many things that I've seen and he's done that are witness and a testimony that he is doing something, and it's happening, and it's real, and it's not a joke, and it's not a game. So you got to understand how powerful that belief is. And I hope that I was able to scratch the surface and do it justice, because it is so big and so important. It is the key if you want to get through all this. So let's open up our books. Let's go back. We're here on page 1278, Ibrahim 11:1. So join me in the Besorah. If you don't have a Besorah, I beg you, please download this book. Please. Let me read this again. And belief is the substance of what is expected, the proof of what is not seen. 2, for by this the elders obtain witness. That's so deep right there. It's so deep I can't even explain it to you. I don't have enough time. 3, by belief. Do you see that? We understand that the ages were prepared by the word of Elohim. Do you know what he's talking about right there? Gosh, man, this is going to be a long day. I hope y'all are ready. So, what he's talking about right there is by belief. We understand that the ages. Do you understand what he's talking about? The ages? You know what I'm talking about? I don't have a picture to bring it up here for you. But look on your money. On the back of your money, you have the altar with the eye on top of it, making it look like a pyramid. So you have an Egyptian altar, which you can't explain why it's on your American money. And then it says the words Norvis Ordo Seclorum, which means Latin, which we don't speak Latin and we know it to be like used for evil stuff. So why they would put that on there and you have no concern, I'm still mind blown at that. I don't understand why. Since I was a little child, I asked my family always, why, what does that mean? And I did my own research when I couldn't have been but 12 years old, and nobody wanted to answer me, and y'all ignored it. And I'm telling you now, it says awaiting the birth of a new order for the ages on the back of the dollar bill. And y'all are wondering what they know this book. If you don't think that they haven't read this book, The Demons, and you don't think that the leaders that made the deal, that actually bowed down for those kingdoms to be theirs, aren't like having think tanks get this book, because they study the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they have all the information and stuff we don't have, and they know what they're doing, and they know how to kind of head us off at the pass. That's why you need to just put it all aside and cut it right here, and sever it by them not having a chance with you, by having your own belief, and you giving up the world and what it wants you to do and what it wants you to think and how it wants you to be, because it's just going to misguide you. Look at the world wants to have sex with children, and they want to drink blood, and they want to they want you on drugs, and they want you to change your sex genitals, and they want you doing all these crazy things. I mean, how can you want to be a part of any of that? I mean, it's a crazy place, and that's why you need to get out of it. I've been teaching you to come out of her, to leave her. And so now let's get back into the Basora. Like I said, this is just so mind-blowing. You ain't gonna believe what you're about to see. I ain't even hardly getting started. I ain't even started. That's how big and deep this is. But by 3, Ibrahim 11, page 1278, by belief we understand that the ages were prepared by the word of Elohim. I mean, that you can't sum it all up in a short phrase and have it all right there like you can right there. It tells you. I mean, that's amazing. So that what is seen was not made of what is visible. So once again, he's telling you what you experience, what happens because of your belief. It's not visible, but you know it's happening. You know it because you experience it and you see what he does. You're seeing what he's doing. That's why it's important that you step into this belief and start focusing your belief into Yah, YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim. Because if you do not do this, you're going to regret it. And like I said, Christians, and I know I'll see you in heaven, but you're going to trial. You're using the wrong names. You're participating in pagan days. I mean, you do it on the first day of the week. You're there right now as I'm speaking. You know, the Shabbat started on Friday evening to Saturday evening. We finished it up yesterday. You all got the wrong time, and none of that matters to you. That's why I'll see you in heaven, because you have the belief that the Messiah died and rose from the grave, but you don't have deliverance, and nor will you be able to make the escape because your belief is not there. You have none of, because you know none of any of this. So how can you have the belief of an escape if you don't even know about this book and his real name? That you can't. It's impossible. And so once again, he's telling you, so that what is seen was not made of what is visible. Right there. I mean, you need to write this down, man. I'm telling you now, write this down. 4, we're going to start getting into it. By belief, Habel offered to Elohim a greater slaughter offering than Cain, through which he obtained witness that he was righteous. Elohim witnessing of his gifts, and through it, having died, he still speaks. I got to keep reading. You guys are going to understand how this belief is so powerful and what it does. 5, by belief. See, here we go again. It started off in 4. By what? Look at, by belief. See, it wouldn't have happened if these two guys, if they didn't have belief, they would have never obtained what they would have never got there. So here we go. 5, by belief. It starts out again. Hanok was translated so as not to see death, and was not found because Elohim has translated him. For before his translation, he obtained witness that he pleased Elohim. Man, that's powerful. I don't think you realize what just happened. He didn't die. He's telling you right there he didn't die. 6, but without belief, here he goes, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to Elohim has to believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him. See, he's telling you right there, without it, it is impossible. I was telling you that earlier. You cannot please Elohim if you don't believe him. That's why you got to first start off, all you Gentiles, you got to start off believing the Messiah died and rose from the grave and get past that. That way you can start understanding the laws and commands. That way you can start being obedient. Then you will be set apart, not participating in the ways of the world. Then you can look to be rewarded. And by how that is done, I don't know, but there talks about an escape. How would you like to be a part of that? Look, 7, let me keep going. Look at how powerful belief is. It starts off again, by belief. See, it's by belief. That means by belief. If you don't have the belief, then you know, it doesn't say by money. I don't care how much money you think you might have. It didn't say that. It says by belief. Looky here. Who do we have on the set? Noah. Y'all know Noah. Having been warned. He was warned of what yet unseen. See, he didn't see it, but he believed it. And having feared Elohim, because that is the wisdom and knowledge, he prepared an ark to save his house. Because he believed. Just by the simple fact that he wasn't believing the nonsense in the world. He was believing what YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim, was telling him. And by him trusting in them and giving up his life and not doing the things that he was normally accustomed to doing anymore. These people just gave their belief and trusted fully in Yah, no matter what. He prepared an ark to save his house, through which he condemned the world. See, he condemned the world and became the heir of righteousness, which is according to belief. See, you got to condemn the world. You got to understand that this, like I was telling you, the pagan days that they give you, it's not a command, people. There's nowhere it says that you have to do this. Even the world that gives it to you, your schools, and that's where they start. They always infiltrate the schools because that's where you're young and where it starts. They get the books. The Nazis are good at this. You got to understand, that's who's running the show. I know you don't like to believe that, but it's true. And they serve Satan, in case you didn't know that. But Satan's allowing it to happen because you won't be obedient. You're stiff-necked and you like it. It's almost like Yah's coming down from the mountain like Moses did. And he's seeing all of you, dancing and singing and having orgies and drugging and drinking. And he's trying to tell you, hey, there's another way out of here, and you don't want to believe him. You would much rather listen to the belief of this world and what it has to offer you today and what it has to give you, instead of Yah being present. And you see all the Hebrews waking up, and you see his name coming alive. A renewed name, he said. His name would be renewed. That means we're not going to change it from Yahuwah to God, because that's a title. Names don't change in translations. If you do your studying, you'll understand that. 8. Here we go. But by belief, look, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he was about to receive as an inheritance. And he went out, not knowing where he was going. Because the belief, he didn't care. He just knew that something other than the things of this world that's been beat into you is trying to talk to you. And you're not wanting to listen because you can go play in the things of the world over and over, and there's so many people doing it. And because the crowd is bigger over there doesn't mean it's okay. 9. By belief. He says it once again. How many times is he going to say this? How many times is he going to try and tell you? It's your belief. Are you going to believe in YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim? Are you going to believe in God or Jesus or Buddha or whatever they give you, the world gives you? 9. By belief, he sojourned in the land of promise as a stranger, dwelling in tents with Yitzchak and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. See, imagine that. He sent all these guys out, and none of them knew where they were going. And they were all strangers in a strange land. But yet they somehow found each other. All 3 of them found each other with the same inheritance that was promised to them. The same promise. Only Yah can do stuff like that. So you don't understand that part. 10. For he was looking for the city having foundations, whose builder and maker is Elohim. See, I see you thought it was going to be Pulte homes. No. I'm sorry. They might make some good homes, but they aren't built on the foundation. And Elohim is our foundation. And you got to understand that. He is the rock that you want to start building things on. That way when troubles come, your house doesn't fall. 11. Here we go again. How many times are you going to say this? I don't know today, but we'll count it. Once we're done with this chapter, we'll go back through and we'll count it, because I have it highlighted in my Besorah and I want to show you and share it with you so you can see it, because it's neat to see the pages highlighted where it says belief. I highlighted it in green because I knew it was powerful. And then one day, this was when I was a rookie, I discovered it, but I didn't know what it meant. And I do now. And so here we go. 11. Page 1278. Ibrahim 11. By belief, also, Sarah herself was enabled to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was past the normal age, because she deemed him, Yahuwah, YHWH, our Elohim, trustworthy, who had promised. See, I'm sure there were tons of people saying, come on, old girl. There ain't no way you're going to have a baby. I mean, but her belief was so strong, she didn't believe in any of them people. She could care less what any of them said because she knew that they weren't following Yah. She believed in our Father, Yah, YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim. And so he allowed her to have a baby when she was old. I mean, that's what you get when you believe in Yah. See, that's why you want this belief, because look at what they're getting by the belief of Yah. And look at what you get when you believe in the world and all the things. You get lied to and you get betrayed and you get misled. So if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get. 12. And so from one and him as good as dead were born as numerous as the stars. Let me read that again so you understand it a little better. And so from one and him as good as dead were born as numerous as the stars. Of the heaven, as countless as the sand which is by the seashore. Do you see this? There we go. Some of this is going to be heartbreaking. If you got a heart, you might have a hard one. I'm trying to scratch at it and penetrate it, because you have to open up your heart to Elohim. Because if you don't, then he's going to harden your heart like he did Pharaoh, and you will perish. 13. In belief, all these died, not having received the promises, but seeing them from a distance. They watched it because they didn't want. Let me continue. They, from a distance, welcomed and embraced them and confessed that they were aliens and strangers on earth. See, that's a mind-blowing piece. My Kohen, he teaches a lot on that. And this is a part in your Bible I just have to point out, where this word right here, see, they changed it. That word was changed to pilgrims. They took aliens out and changed it to pilgrims in your Bible. So if you have a Bible, you're looking at the word pilgrims right now. And see, all these people died because they didn't receive the promises, but receiving it from a distance. They welcomed and embraced and confessed that they were aliens and strangers on this earth. That they knew, in belief, all these people, they died. Not having received the promises, that's why. But we're aliens, people. You didn't know that. 14. For those who speak in this way, make it clear that they seek fatherland. See? When you know that this place wasn't meant for you, that's why I know a lot of people struggle and wonder why things just don't work here. Have you ever thought that maybe it's because you're not from here? You're just here, you have a job, and if the Father needs you to do something, that's why you were placed here. You are not here to be like all the rest and enjoy everything and live out an old life and die. You have a job, like myself and others. 15. And yet, if they had indeed kept remembering that place from which they had come out, they would have had the chance to return. That's why it's important that you don't remember the place that you come out, because you don't want the chance to return. Do you want to look back and say, oh, I miss all them partyings and all the filthy whoring and all the things that go on? You really don't. 16, let me continue. But now they long for a better place. Do you see that? That is heavenly. Therefore, Elohim is not ashamed to be called their Elohim, because he sees them. They want to come out of her. That's why they long for a better place that is heavenly, because they see what's going on. They see how Satan has his thumbprint on everything. They're having sex with kids, and they're drinking their blood with adrenochrome to be youthful and young looking. And I mean, it's just crazy, man. For he has prepared a city for them. Do you see that? You're going to learn about that. I'm going to teach you. So please stay with me. If you're new to this, please, I just beg you, please just listen, write down some of these things. And if you have questions, just ask me. 17. Ibrahim, page 1278. Ibrahim 11. 17. By belief, here we are again. Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Yitzchak, and he who had received the promises offered up his only brought forth son. 18. Of whom it was said in Yitzchak, your seed shall be called. Your seed shall be called. You see that? And do you know what that sacrifice was? Yeah. 19. Reckoning that Elohim was able to raise even from the dead, from which he received him back as a type. See, you don't know what Elohim, you better be careful, people, because I don't think you understand when your belief gets so strong. You better know that if Yah needs you and Yah's got to use you and stuff, he's going to do things like this that might shock you. You know, if he brings back somebody from the dead or heals somebody or does something, because Yah can do anything. Anything is possible through Yah. YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim. You need to understand that. 20. By belief, here it is again. It starts off. How many times is he starting us off? This is so important. Yitzchak blessed Jacob and Esau concerning that which was to come. Do you see that? Because they knew what was to come. 21. By belief, there it is again. Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph and did reverence on top of his staff. Wow. 22. By belief, Joseph, when he was dying, made mention of the outgoing of the children of Israel and gave orders concerning his bones. Yeah, because he wanted his bones to be placed in a certain place. He made a request. You guys need to know these things. And see, look at that. They're talking about the children of Israel. See, it's a people. It's not a place. Just like they changed the Y to I to make Israel. They took off the Y to make Israel look like a country and gave it to you. And that's a lie. Just like Jesus. You know, there was no Y, so they used J. And I mean, you got to understand these things. This book will tell you that. If you read the very first 10 pages, it goes into detail of the history of the letter J and where it came from and why they did it and who did it. Yeah, it'll tell you all about it. 23. That's why this book's important. By belief, here we go again. Moses, having been born, was hidden 3 months by his parents, because see, back then they liked to kill certain types of people. Killing people wasn't no big thing. They'd put out a hit and go wipe out a bunch of people. And if you was Hebrew, they wanted to do you in. By belief, 23, by belief, Moshe, having been born, was hidden 3 months. Do you see that? 3 months. 3. By his parents, because they saw he was a comely child and were not afraid of the sovereign's command. See, because they believed in Elohim, Yahuwah, our Elohim. They didn't fear Pharaoh. 24. By belief, there it starts again. Moshe, having become great, refused to be called the son of the daughter of Pharaoh, because he knew that he was not from this world. He knew he was placed here, and he was alien. 25. Choosing rather to be afflicted with the people of Elohim than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a time. See, that's what Moses, by his belief. It only happened because of his belief, man. You got to understand that. 26. Deeming the reproach of Messiah greater riches than the treasures in Mitzrayim. For he was looking to the reward. Because he knew there were greater treasures, in the kingdom than in Mitzrayim. There were greater treasures than the Messiah he had found. Oh, Moses. You mean Moses? Oh, and the Messiah, greater riches than the treasures in Mitzrayim? Yes. Greater treasures than in Mitzrayim. Greater treasures than here in Asher, America. 27. By belief, he left Mitzrayim, not fearing the wrath of the sovereign, who is the sovereign? That is Pharaoh. For he was steadfast as seeing him who is invisible. See, he was steadfast. That means he just knew Yah existed, and he was just seeking him diligently and was on the quest to find out who he was. Praise Yah. And by that belief, that's what made it happen. And look, 28. Here we go. We got more. By belief, he performed the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he who destroyed the firstborn should touch them. See, if you didn't believe it, when they asked you, hey, on Passover, the destroyer's coming and to take all the firstborn, and if you don't put this blood around your doorpost, you're going to die. And so because they believed it and they did it, guess what happened? They lived. It was because of the belief. Even though it was something they really couldn't see, but once it was performed, they could see it. And that's how their belief gets stronger. Because there are things that do happen that create a witnessing and testimonies that make our belief strong. We may not be able to see it physically, but things do happen in the way that Yah says they will. And he will make himself known, even though you may not still be able to see him. 29. By belief, they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land. And when the Mitzrayites tried it, they were drowned. You see that? And that's why I made that, that picture. And by these beliefs, that's why you see the picture, for today's program that I gave you, because it's showing you, because of the belief of Moses. There he is right there, in the sea being parted and him coming through it. And by the belief in Noah, that we talked about that. And and by the belief of Elijah and Enoch, he took them out of there. They walked out. I mean, y'all got to understand that. Y'all got to know that, how powerful belief is. It's super powerful. So let's get back to the Besorah, because we ain't done yet. But you got to know how powerful belief is. Without belief, you're doomed. 30. By belief, the walls of Jericho fell, having been surrounded for 7 days. See, look, there's them numbers, 7 and 3. Those are Yah's numbers, and you need to remember them. And see that the walls, they call it Jericho, but the walls of Jericho fell having been surrounded for 7 days by belief, because they were outside and they were told to sit outside, and then when told, then the walls would come down, and they were wondering what to do. You got to know these stories. You got to know this, what happened, man. You got to get into this stuff. 31, by belief, Rahab, the whore, did not perish with those who did not believe. You see that? Having received the spies with peace. She didn't die with those who didn't believe. Even the whore. 32. And what more shall I say? For the time would fail me to relate of Gideon and Barak and Shimson and Yiftah, also of David and Shamuel and the prophets. Here we go. 33. Who through belief overcame reigns. Do you understand that? Gosh dang, you don't understand that, do you? That means destroying nations and destroying places. They worked righteousness, obtained promises, and stopped the mouths of lions. Those people that say things to devour you, and quenched the power of fire. And then not last, but there it is. Do you see that right there? What I keep telling you about. Once you get your salvation and you get delivered, you will receive the escape. Look, escape the edge of the sword. Out of weakness were made strong, became mighty in battle, put foreign armies to flight. Yah always provides a way out. Don't ever think he doesn't. He's shown you many times there is a way out, but you got to believe in him. He'll show you. Look at this, 35. Women received back their dead by resurrection, and others were tortured, not accepting release to obtain a better resurrection. That's sad. And others had a trial of mockings and floggings and more, of chains and imprisonment. Dang. See, it's getting tough on you when you don't. That's why he allows these bad things to happen. He's trying to get your attention. When you can't figure out why it ain't working, it's because he's trying to get your attention. 37. They were stoned. They were tried, and they were sawn in two even. They were slain with the sword, killed immediately. They went about in sheepskins and in goatskins, being in need, afflicted and mistreated, of whom the world was not worthy, wandering in deserts and mountains and caves and holes of the earth. Yeah, see, that's how rough, that's how it's going to be if you don't adhere to this word of Yah. I'm serious. 39, and having obtained witness through belief, all these did not receive the promise. Elohim having provided what is better for us, that they should not be made perfect apart from us. See, that's deep right there. You got to understand that part. He's trying to give us what is better. You can only be made perfect when you're in your spirit with Yah. If you're separated, you're not with him. And that's what makes you, they should not be made perfect apart from us, because they're not our spirit. So you will not be perfect apart from us when you're not in spirit. When you're in spirit, you are perfect because you're walking with the Messiah. There's only one spirit, my friends. The rest are demons. So there I've showed you many things. How Yah has done many things and worked in these people's lives, and that's what gave them belief. Oh man, I hope I wasn't reading through that. So maybe I was. I apologize. Well, so like I said, I had my picture on covering up the words. Let me reiterate that again. Then we're gonna run back through this whole thing, just because you need to get this. So, if you're with me, please turn to page 1278 in your Basora, because you need to understand this. You see this? Look, just from 11 to 12. Look, in belief, there's once, there's twice, there's 3 times, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, there's 9, there's 10, there's 11, there's 12, there's 13, there's 14, there's 15, there's 16, there's 17, there's 18, there's 19, there's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 times. And do you remember back at the beginning of this scripture? I bet you don't. That's why we're going to go back through this real quick. How many elders are there? For by this the elders obtain witness. There's 24 elders. And in this chapter, it mentions belief 24 times. So you all need to understand how important belief is. Look, he's telling you, by belief, we understand that the ages were prepared by the word of Elohim, so that what is seen was not made of what is visible. Ibrahim 1278, 11:3. I mean, look, we read by belief, Noah having been warned. Noah was allowed to escape. Look at what he did. He made his seed, be carried out forever, because he got an inheritance because of his obedience, because he believed in Yah. He was going to sacrifice his own son because he believed in Elohim. And look, Sarah believed in Yah so much, Yah, YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim, because he believed in him so much, she was allowed to bear a child when she was an old woman, a grandma. It's important that you understand the belief. You must understand this belief. You must get it. Look at this one. I like this one, 20. By belief, Yishak blessed Jacob and Esau concerning that which was to come. They might have had their differences and things might have been done, but they still all knew what Yah said was going to happen regardless of what they felt. 21. I mean, there it is again. Belief, belief, belief. I mean, Moses, because of his belief, he led them out. He led them out. I mean, you guys got to understand, this is what gets you out. This is what gets you out. By 24, by belief, Moshe, having become great. He was a great person. Refused to be called the son of the daughter of Pharaoh. He could have lived a lavish life, but he didn't want to, because he knew it was the pleasures of sin would not last. Do you see that? Moses knew the pleasures of sin, and the pleasures of sin is like not doing what Elohim wants you to do. If you think that, if you're going to question whether you should do it or not, before, if it's good or bad for you, you don't want a decision, ask Elohim. Say, Father, would you approve of me doing this? And if the answer is yes, then I would say you're good. But if the answer is no, then you have it. Ask him. He'll tell you. If you can't figure it out yourself, ask Elohim, Yahuwah, YHWH, our Elohim. Look at this. And by belief, 27, he left Mizraim, not fearing the wrath of what was going to happen for leaving Egypt. For he was steadfast as seeing him who is invisible. Do you see that? Yah is invisible. It tells you right there, him who is invisible. In case you're trying to look for him, well, you can't see him because he is invisible. And then 28, look, by belief, he performed the Passover. You got to understand that. He performed the Passover, the sprinkling of blood, lest he who destroyed the firstborn should touch them. But by belief they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, and when the Mitzraimites tried it, they were drowned. And look, I'm going to keep reading. By belief, the walls of Jericho fell, having been surrounded for 7 days. By belief, Rahab the whore did not perish with those who did not believe. Right, so he took her out of there because being that the whore turned around and she didn't want to do that life anymore, well, he didn't let her die with those people who didn't believe. How about that? Having received the spies with peace. And what more shall I say? For the time would fail me to relate of Gidon and Barak and Shemshan and Yiftah, also David and Shemuel and the prophets. See, their belief, who through belief overcame reigns. They worked righteousness and obtained promises. And you stop the mouths of lions. All the people that are out there bad-mouthing and saying stuff and causing problems and stirring the pot, you quench it and stop it. And then you can escape the edge of the sword, that's what's coming to this country. This country is going to fall. And out of weakness, they were made strong, became mighty in battle, and put foreign armies to flight. See, you need to understand this. So, once again, hey, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching me. I'm sorry about I might have had too many things going on and had an error earlier, but that doesn't take anything away from the simple fact, that this belief is important. If you don't have the belief and you want to focus all your belief into the ways of the world and what's going on in this world and everything that they give you, well, it's going to work because you believe in it. You got to stop believing in them, and you got to take your belief away. Don't give them that power over you. Stop believing in them. You must turn your belief into believing in Yah, YHWH, the Creator, Elohim, Yahuwah. You need to start adhering. That's his real name. He wrote this name. He wrote that, with his finger and gave it to Moses on the 10 Commandments. And then Moses broke them over the golden calf. And that golden calf is here. It's made its presence known once again. And next week I'm going to be getting into that. Next week is going to be good. Because next week I'm going to start doing some exposing and showing you all these things. I'm going to show you how, all this stuff is tied into Scripture. Elon is in Scripture. Trump is in Scripture. I mean, this thing is all being played out. They use Super Bowl parables to talk to us and teach us things and to show us things in Scripture. And that's how we know the timing is right. Because the Hebrews, they know how to read parables and things like that. Because they just do. The right ones. The ones that have been doing it long enough. That's why you need to find you some Hebrews and you need to be paying attention. Not all Hebrews are good. My Kohen showed me there are bad Hebrews, and he'll tell you, so it's still dangerous, even with Hebrews, because not all are righteous. And it says in Scripture, even the righteous will fall. So it's a dangerous time in a dangerous world. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining me. Today, like I said, you've seen my program today. Today's show is on belief. Do you have belief? The great escape is coming. I'm telling you now. If you don't know about an escape, well, that's because you don't know YHWH good enough. He gave one to Moshe. He gave them to Elijah and Enoch. He gave one to Noah. I mean, he provides a way out, but you just have to believe in him. If you don't believe, then you will not make it. That's how it works. If you don't believe it, you can't make it. It's just how it works. I didn't make the rules. I don't quite understand it 100% myself, but I know it enough to know that my belief in Yah changes everything. The more I believe in Yah and the more I do in that realm, and the more I present myself to me as a living sacrifice and let him to work through me, the more I see him doing things. Even though he can't be seen and he's invisible, I still know that what he's doing is more real than all the things that are here in front of me. That's how crazy it is. But you have to go a long ways. It takes time. It's not that easy. It just don't happen. I'm only telling you this from my perspective and my experience. This is my testimony that I'm sharing with you so you can understand how it works. And it works through belief. If you don't have the belief, it's because your belief is more focal pointed on, the things of this world. Do you want to believe that things are going to get better so you can buy a house, so you can have a cars and start a family and all that? That's the world's plan for you. With all those holidays that are not commands, you cannot show me anywhere where it's a command that it says you're commanded to do this and you have to do this. It doesn't say that. So please stop doing them pagan days, which is your Christmas, your Easter, your 4th of July. You shouldn't even recognize them. You will not hear me say, the only time I recognize those names is whenever I'm exposing them to be non-commands from our Father. I don't mention them names any other time. So that's what really put a sour taste in my mouth when I was in the church, was not the people. The people were wonderful, but the Freemasons that control the churches, that put out the guide that tells them to do this and that. Well, they present you, hey, we're going to do this on Easter coming up. Hey, we're going to do this on Christmas coming up. And your churches acknowledge, yeah, we're not going to do Halloween like the pagans do. We're going to do our own trunk or treat. I wouldn't even mention that dang name. I wouldn't give credence to none of those names, because you're just promoting this world and you must come out of her. If you want to be set apart and you want to adhere to the festivals that are in Scripture and not the ones of the worlds that aren't even commands. They're not commands. You can't even show me where it says that we have to do this. So please, once again, I just want to say, my name is X-Gentile. I'm coming to you from the National Yehudim Helping Hand Ministry out of Kansas City, Missouri. Not Kansas. You want to stay out of Kansas. It's bad news over there. Trust me. They're leaving by the droves over there. And you just, once again, I'm John Seals, also known as X-Gentile. I am here every Sunday at 12 to 1. Sometimes I'll come on at 12, I try to, but if I'm running late or something comes up, I might be on at 1. That's why it says 12 to 1. I could come on at 1. I try and make it 12, but I could be at 1. So please, just bear with me. And like I said, I'm going to try and just keep doing this every Sunday, the first day of the week. So today marks the first day of the week. Every Sunday, I'll be doing these shows. So please join me. You can find more teachings at Ranford Fleming's during the week. And like I said, if you're bored and you've seen all of our teachings, go back 17 years on his YouTube. He has receipts. You can find all on his channels, all the teachings going way back. So I appreciate you guys. We got a new moon coming up. Me and Yathan will be blowing the ram's horn. I want to tell you, just give you a little taste of that. That's obeying the laws and commands. We recognize them. We're doing them, So that'll be coming up here Tuesday morning at 3:30 on the 17th at 3 o'clock a.m. I believe 3 o'clock. Yeah, 2:30 or 3 o'clock. I'm not sure on the time. I'll have to get back with you, but it's coming up early. Y'all will be in sleep, but me and Yathan we'll cover for you, and we'll get up and we'll blow the ram's horn. So once again, I just want to thank everybody. I just want to praise Yah. All this steam is yours. I thank you for making this possible. I would not be able to do any of this. I would not be able to see any of this. I would not be able to hear any of this. I would not be able to understand any of this. I would not be able to believe any of this if it wasn't for Yah, YHWH, Yahuwah, our Elohim. And once again, all the esteem is his. He makes all things possible. I thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you next week. I will see you next week. I'm trying to get this video to be my intro and my outro. So once again, I'm going to roll out with this. I just want to say shalom once again. I appreciate all of you guys. I just thank you. I hope you learned something from this, because this is very important today. Please, I just ask that you watch. Please. We don't have much time left. I wouldn't be trying to sell everything in my house and everything I've worked for 30 years for if this wasn't true. I don't want any of this stuff. I don't want none of it. I want to change my life. I want to make it to where I serve Him and Him only. I don't participate in payment days. You will not catch me. I don't do birthdays. Those are also paid. If you want to challenge me, come on. Thank you once again for joining me. And the National Yahuwah Helping Hand Ministry, based out of Kansas City, Missouri. We'll be bringing Yah's teachings every Sunday and during the week at Ranford Fleming's. You can find Hebrew Levite teachings from real Hebrews. They have committed themselves and dedicated their lives to following the ways of the righteous and how the Hebrew should live his life. So please, don't take this lightly. This ain't a game. This ain't a joke. We are at the end of the new age that is coming upon us. If you are ready, we'll be gone before you get out of here. I thank you once again. Shalom to all my brothers and my fellow Levite priests out there. Ronald Holden, Latif Lavinia, and Dale Leslie. Latif. Come on, brother. We need you, brother. I appreciate you, baby. I appreciate you, love. And I thank you. And I thank you, for being patient with me. I'm not the easiest one to deal with. And I know what I see is what you see. And I'm what I believe. And thank you all. Please, adhere to this word. Make your belief as strong as Moses before it's too late. It's coming, and when it does, you're going to wish you had it. I can't say when it's going to happen, but you know it's going to happen, and you can feel it's coming soon. So please join me every Sunday, the first day of the week, at 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you all. I appreciate you. I will see you next Sunday. I thank every one of you. Shalom. Shalom, everybody. Shalom. Don't give up. You're just getting started. Only if you knew what was coming. One Spirit. I thank you, family, for giving me the family I always desired. family I never had. Thank you, Father, for everything you do. Shalom, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you next week.